This is Super Yacht News with E. Sisman.
Okay, so we're following breaking news here. Now, the US is seeking forfeiture of the Russian-owned superyacht Amadea. The United States government today filed for the forfeiture of the $300 million superyacht it says is controlled by the billionaire businessman Suleiman Kerimov, who is under US sanctions. Now, according to Reuters, Monday's complaint filed in federal court in Manhattan kicks off a potentially long judicial process in which the United States would seek ownership of the yacht, which is docked in San Diego, and then likely auction it and transfer the proceeds to Ukraine. In Monday's complaint, the US Department of Justice said Kerimov bought the yacht named Motor Yacht Amadea in 2021 and then violated US sanctions by making more than $1 million in maintenance payments through US financial institutions, which, because he is under sanctions, he is prohibited from doing. Now, the lawyers for the Amadea's registered owner, Mill Marine Investments, told the Fiji court last year that Amadea was owned by the former Rosneft chief Edward Kutenetov, a Russian who has not been sanctioned by the US, and it was not owned by Mr. Kerimov. So US prosecutors said a September 2021 transaction transferring ownership of Amadea from Mill Marine to a newly incorporated company, Aragon Marine, was designed to make it appear that Evgeny Kokman, the president of the sanctioned yacht broker Imperial Yachts, owned the yacht. So also today, in a different court, in a different state, the US government was sued for the return of the superyacht. The lawsuit was filed on the other side of the country in the US District Court of the Southern District of California. The yacht was seized in Fiji last year and was sailed to the US by a crew working for the US government. Now, we followed the case in Fiji at the time and we broke much of the information that came about the yacht when it was in Fiji. Now, the Fiji High Court, they found in favor of the US government and the yacht was removed to San Diego via Hawaii. Now, the lawsuit says, this is the lawsuit from the registered owner of the yacht, says that the 106 metre or 347 foot superyacht is in fact owned by Mr. Edward Kutenetov, as we said, who has claimed to be the owner of two superyachts worth almost $1 billion. Now, in the lawsuit from the registered owner, it says that an investigation of Mr. Kutenetov for violations of the International Emergency Economics Powers Act, or the IEEPA, as well as an investigation into money laundering, was closed by the DOJ without any charges being filed. And as he is not under sanctions or being charged with any crime, the lawsuit says that the yacht should be returned. Now, the lawsuit also says that the government used a flawed theory set forth in a knowingly false and misleading affidavit in support of its request for a seizure warrant. And they said that Amadea is in fact owned by Mr. Kutenetov. It was not sanctioned in the US. This fact alone destroys any probable cause to seize it. Now, the flawed theory they refer to in that lawsuit is that Mr. Kutenetov sold the yacht to Suleiman Kerimov in August 2021, and that Mr. Kutenetov became the straw owner to conceal Mr. Kerimov's ownership. Now, the lawsuit also goes on to say that the reason Amadea was seized and has not been returned is obvious. The seizure was political theatre and not based on a proper and fulsome investigation. Following the Russia-Ukraine conflict, the Amadea was targeted by US government because of its size, opulence and Russian ownership, and not because of any evidence it was involved in wrongdoing. The US government believes the yacht is owned by Mr. Kerimov, and hence the fact that Mr. Kutenetov has been cleared of any wrongdoing would be irrelevant to the yacht's release, as they don't believe he is the owner. And Mr. Kerimov is sanctioned by the US, as we already mentioned, as well as the EU and the UK. Now, we've tracked the yacht Amadea, as mentioned previously, and other yachts claim to be owned by Mr. Kutenetov. Now, Kutenetov is said to be worth $1 billion by Forbes, and yet he claims to own two superyachts worth collectively $1 billion. Amadea is said to be worth $300 to $330 million, and Motor Yacht Scheherazade, another yacht that he claims to be the owner of, is valued at approximately $700 million. So Mr. Kerimov has formed for using straw owners in the past. He used a Swissman, Alexander Studholder, who is an associate of Mr. Kerimov, to use a Swiss firm for ownership of villas and a previous yacht, Motor Yacht Ice, that belonged to Mr. Kerimov. Now, why is Mr. Kerimov sanctioned? According to the warproject.media, a Russian language website that tracks Russian businessmen and their connections to the war in Ukraine, they say that Kerimov is a member of the Federation Council and supports the war in Ukraine by voting for military and repressive laws. All right, so we're going to leave it there. This is, as we said, been a breaking news episode. If you've got any information about this story, please be sure to get in touch in the normal fashion. You can get us on the About page of the YouTube channel. You can get us on Instagram, on Twitter, on Facebook Messenger, and you can also talk to us on Threema completely anonymously. You can also email us at news@esysman.co.uk. All right, guys, thanks very much for watching. If you've liked this video, please be sure to like, hit the subscribe button, and hit the bell for future notifications. This is going to be a long story, and we plan to follow the entire thing until we get to a conclusion. All right, thanks very much for watching. I'll catch up with you soon. Bye-bye.